Good morning, beautiful hot yogis, or beautiful kind of chilly yogis. Weather is warming up, spring is here, so that's a good thing. But it is a little cold outside this morning, so hopefully you've got your heaters up or you've got fires up. I've been loving seeing everybody's home practice. Oh, I use your mind up. My candles are off. Hold on one second. My name is Amanda. I teach in the North Studio most often, but I practice mostly down at the South Hill Studio. You can see me probably either place all the time. Especially after this is all over, I think I'm just going to move in because I missed that hot studio. So anyways, let's get started with our Vinyasa practice this morning. I don't know about you guys. I am noticing the difference of not having a yoga practice in the hot studio. I just am totally noticing it. I just feel stiffer and like harder to get going in the morning and things like that. Could possibly be because I turned 40 on Friday and like this is like the gift of a new decade that I've been blessed with. I don't know, but I'm gonna say it's the yoga, the hot yoga that I'm missing. So I like to start my Vinyasa classes off a little slow, just really waking up the body before we get moving. So having said that, let's start off on our backs in Shavasana. Rolling out onto your back. Feet splaying open, arms down by your side. Palms facing up. Perhaps if you want to feel like you want to ask the universe for some energy, or maybe you want to put your palms down to feel a little more grounded. Either way is fine. Maybe you want to do a little bit of both and have one palm up and one palm down. Whatever you feel like you're needing today. But in the Savasana, we're just going to gently close our eyes and start focusing on our breath. We're not going to change it just yet. No need for that. But notice how you're breathing right now, where the breath is coming from. Your chest, your belly. Are there any points of tension that you're feeling this morning? Your shoulders, perhaps, your neck, anywhere along your spine, your knees. Focus in on some of those places where you're feeling tension. And let's fill the body full of air, really good, full breath in. And then exhale and imagine that breath going to those points of tension, those kind of icky places that don't look quite right yet this morning. Filling the body up with air and then breathing into those points of tension. Now, as we're doing this breath, we're using our yogi breath, our ujjayi breath, which is in and out through the nose. It's a big inhale in through the nose. And then we constrict the whisper muscles in the back of the throat as we audibly exhale. Sort of sounding like ocean waves, or maybe that Darth Vader breath. Inhaling, constricting the whisper muscles in the back of the throat, and exhaling. Now think about keeping your belly button into your spine as you're doing this breath as well. And the breath is coming into the lungs, in and out through the lungs. So inhaling, exhaling. Breath in, breath out. Keep that breath going. The ujjayi breath is a loud, audible exhale through the whole practice. It could be obnoxious perhaps, but we always say we want to hear you being the loudest in the room. So that means you're listening to everybody else in the room. And sometimes people get nervous about that. So pro tip or bonus tip for a home practice is you get to be the loudest in the room and no one can hear you. So really make this ujjayi breath as loud as possible. And then when we gather back together for those first classes at Beautiful, we're going to blow the roof off the building with how loud these breaths are, yes? So wherever we are, let's take that big inhale in through the nose and exhale out through the nose. Super loud, audible exhale. Now on your inhale, let's bring your right knee into your chest. Keeping the left foot flexed, the right foot is just remaining kind of loose. We could do those ankle circles. We're going to bring this right knee up and around the rib cage, really hugging it in. Compressing the right side body, the ascending colon, some of the organs on this side. And now let's take this left hand and bring that right knee down to the ground as much as you can. Gazing over to the right, perhaps making that capital T arm with that right hand. Gazing over to the left, feeling this twist. Just starting to wake up this morning. And now let's bring that right knee back to center. Extend that right heel up to the sky, feeling that stretch up the back of the leg. Maybe grabbing a hold behind the thigh, maybe behind the calf. Maybe you can reach up and grab a hold of that big toe. Maybe you can even take that basket grip here. Whatever is comfortable, making sure you're just feeling that really good stretch. Feeling the stretch without it being painful, knowing the difference. And now let's release that right heel down to the ground. Left knee up into the chest, up and around the armpit. Left foot is relaxed. We can take those ankle circles one way or the other. Really hugging that knee into the armpit on this side, up and around the rib cage, compressing the left side body, the descending colon, and all those lovely organs that are on this side, feeling that compression. We take our right hand to our left knee. That left arm out and this right knee down, taking that twist. Working on getting the knee down to the ground, working on getting both shoulders down to the ground. But really, this is such a good twist. Just doing whatever feels good here to get that twist, get the maximum out of this twist that you can. And breathing, maybe we're thinking about inhaling and reaching this left hand towards the side wall. Exhaling that knee further and further down. And now let's bring that knee up, extending that left heel up to the sky. We're maybe grabbing behind our thigh, maybe our calf, maybe reaching up and grabbing a hold of our big toes, or maybe we can do that basket grip on this side. Whatever to get that good stretch up the leg, really starting to wake up this morning. And now let's bring that left heel to the ground, both knees into our chest, taking a happy laughing baby, gripping maybe our peace fingers around our big toes, maybe we're grabbing a hold of the soles of our feet, whatever works. Just noticing where our hips are right now. I always like to do this in the beginning and then at the end of class just to see if there's any change. We'll send one heel up to the sky, perhaps taking that ninja baby, and then the other. Maybe we're rocking and rolling side to side, really opening up those hips, hugging our knees into our chest, crossing our ankles as we roll forward, taking a couple rock and rolls, the length of our spine, the length of our mat, and then we're going to roll up to our tabletop position just for a second. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, toes together to touch, sending your hips back to that child's pose. Arms, fingertips walking forward towards the front of the mat, hips lowering down towards the heels, using the breath to inhale and reach forward. Exhale, hips down to your heels. Feeling the breath work through your body to get deeper and deeper into this pose. Child's pose is always available for you as a resting posture at any time. Shavasana is also available anytime that you feel that you need it. How do you know you need it? Listen to your body. Also, as we're going through these poses, if you feel that you can't keep that ujjayi breath going in and out through your nose through practice, that may be a sign that you want to take a little bit of a break in a child's pose or a shavasana until you can recatch your breath and get back into the flow. So we're in our child's pose. Let's take our left arm under, coming down on our left shoulder, left ear, threading the needle and taking that twist. Using the breath here again to inhale and reach those right fingertips forward towards the front of the mat. And then exhaling, taking that twist, those left fingertips really walking towards the side of the mat. Getting deeper and deeper into that twist. Inhaling, reaching with the right. Exhaling, reaching with the left. Feeling that twist up the spine, working to detox the body. Another thing I think that we're all doing right now is, enjoying what life has to offer. Perhaps I'm seeing a lot of my friends post a lot about wine and cakes and chocolates and all that kind of stuff, and it's wonderful. It's such a good time. But yeah, let's detox the body this morning, shall we? As we reach and then inhale and twist on that exhale. And now let's reach that left arm up. We're back in our child's pose. Taking that right arm under, threading the needle, coming down on our right shoulder, right ear. Feeling the twist here as we inhale, walking those fingertips forward. Exhale, walking those left fingertips towards the side, really feeling this twist. Breath in. Exhale, twist. Big breath in. Exhale, twist. One more, just because it feels good. Really twist into this exhale. And now release. We're back in our child's pose. Extending those fingers out. Pushing those hips back down towards your heels. And now let's come up to our tabletop for just a moment, and then we're going to come to a seated position, crisscross applesauce. Hands on our knees. Let's take a couple of neck rolls this morning. Chin to our chest as we look down. Eyes up. Back to center. Let's look to the right. Let's look to the left. Back to center. Chin to our chest. Looking up. Back to center. Look to the right. And look to the left. Now let's take our arms up overhead. We can clasp our fingers, releasing our fingertips, our pointer fingers. Inhale up and over to the right. Exhale back to center. Inhale up and over to the left. Back to center. Our right hand down as we reach with our left. Back to center. Left hand down as we reach with our right. And back to center. And now we're going to take our right hand to our right ear, right hand to our left ear, pulling our right ear down, sending that left arm long. And now let's switch. Left hand, right ear. And switch arms up overhead. Left hand, right knee, taking this twist. Using the inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, twisting deeper. Looking further and further behind you, further and further over that right shoulder on those exhales. Really twisting. Back to center, right hand down. Inhaling as we lengthen. Exhaling to twist. Breathing over that left shoulder. And let's take it back to center. Let's come into our fire log pose, stacking shin over shin. So I've got my right knee over my left ankle, right ankle over left knee, keeping my legs parallel. If this isn't happening, if your knee isn't getting down, you've got kind of a big gap, which is not totally normal. You can always take a block, placing it between your knee and ankle, if that helps. And now arms up overhead, and we're going to walk those fingertips forward, feeling the stretch up the right hip. And maybe we could take some shoulder rolls. Also, just kind of feeling that goodness in the shoulders. And now let's walk our fingertips back up. We are going to grab a hold of our foot here, bringing our foot into the elbow crease of our left hand, kind of clasping our hands. We're holding as if we're like rocking a baby, or maybe a little baby. So holding our leg up, and maybe even take it for a little rock. All right, and now let's bring that down. We're going to swap sides. So we're bringing this left leg on top this time. Left ankle over right knee. Left knee over right ankle. Arms up overhead. Exhaling, walking those fingertips forward, feeling the stretch. Maybe rolling out those shoulders again. Feeling a stretch. I'm feeling it in my low back, and I'm also feeling it up the left hip. Reaching those fingertips forward. And let's release. Same thing on this side, taking this foot into the right elbow crease, reaching around, grabbing a hold of that leg. And maybe rocking that baby. Whatever feels good. Just more releasing of that hip. Yes. All right. And releasing this down, arms up overhead. Let's reach out one more time, and this time let's roll over, coming into our child's pose one more time. Reaching those fingertips forward, forehead on the mat. Exhaling, hips to heels. Now let's bring your chin to the mat just for a second. Now starting to put some weight into your palms. We're going to tuck our toes and push back to our downward facing dog. Big breath in our first downward facing dog of the day. We're going to take it for a walk. Right knee, left knee. Then we're going to send that right heel up to the sky, bending the knee, opening up the hip, taking those hip circles one way, and then the other. And we'll bring that down. Left heel rises, bending the knee one way. And then the other for those hip circles. Left foot meets the right. Let's inhale, come up onto our toes, heels lift, exhale, heels down. Feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. Inhale, lift, exhale, down. Inhale, rise, exhale, release. And now let's tiptoe our feet to our hands. We're going to meet in that forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale, hands come to shins. Exhale, fold forward. Rising up on that inhale, extended mountain pose. Let's bring our hands to heart center. Closing your eyes for a moment, coming into your breath, taking a moment to set an intention for your practice today. Gently open your eyes, arms up overhead, extended mountain pose, reaching those hands down to your toes. Halfway lift, inhale, stepping back to your high plank position. Holding there, perhaps we're in our knees, modifying. Hanging out in this high plank. Let's push back to our downward facing dog, checking our alignment to make sure we don't need to move our hands or feet. And from our downward facing dog, breath and belly button into spine as we roll forward to our high plank. Push back to our downward facing dog. Rolling forward to our high plank. Downward facing dog. One more high plank. Let's lower down to our bellies. All the way down. Taking our cobra pose, inhaling, shoulders lift. Exhale and chin to the mat. Let's push back to our downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. Filling the lungs. Empty. Feet to your hands, walk, step, or jump. Halfway lift, fold. Rising to that extended mountain pose. Reaching up, looking up. Taking that back bend, cactusing the arms perhaps. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Step back, jump back. Moving through your vinyasa. Lowering down through chaturanga perhaps this time. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog on the exhale. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Filling up. Empty. Feet to your hands, walk, step, or jump. Halfway lift, fold. Rising up on the inhale, extended mountain pose, reach up, look up. Cactus those arms, take that back bend, look back, go back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Step back, jump back. Vinyasa time. Lowering down on your exhale, inhaling to rise, downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale, filling up, empty, and walk, step, or jump. Feet to your hands, halfway lift. Fold. Let's take one more sun A. Inhale, rising up, reaching up, cactusing those arms, back bend, look back, go back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Jump back, step back, whatever you need to do. Going through your vinyasa, using the breath as the vehicle to move you through these poses until you get to your downward facing dog, where we take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, exhale, filling up, empty. We're going to walk, step, or jump. Our feet to our hands, halfway lift, fold. Toes together to touch, heels slightly apart. We're going to sink into our chair pose. Let's keep our chest to our thigh for a moment, seeing if we can get our chair at like a 90-degree, these thighs at 90-degree angle here a little bit. Fingertips still on the mat, feeling that. Now let's reach our hands out directly in front of us, palms together to touch. And now lifting up, the weight is in our heels. Bring those toes up off the mat, gazing up at our hands perhaps. Belly button into spine, thinking about this pelvis lifting as your tailbone descends. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. Big breath in and fold forward, reach for those toes. Halfway lift, inhale. Step back, jump back. Move through your vinyasa. Using that breath. Knowing that being in downward facing dog is totally fine. Once you get to your downward facing dog, our right heel rises, and we're going to take a big dynamic step forward for our warrior one. Right foot in front, breaking down this pose for a moment. Our right knee at that 90-degree angle. We're working on our left foot coming down, our left heel at a 45-degree angle. We want our hips pointing towards the short side of the mat. Maybe we take our hands to our hips and really work that left hip forward, right hip back. Arms up overhead, sinking in. We want the right knee directly over the ankle. If it's behind, we don't get as much benefit, meaning it's easier. If it's in front, we can do some damage. So we want it right, directly over that front knee. Arms up overhead. Inhale, reach up, look up. And now exhale to the mat, moving through your vinyasa. Maybe you're lifting that right leg this time as you come down for your chaturanga. Inhaling to rise, upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Left heel rises. Bring that forward, big step, big reach up, warrior one. Working on, again, this left knee directly over the ankle. The left knee is also energetically tracking towards the left baby toe. So when you gaze down, you can just see your big toe peeking out. Working on those hips, bringing that right hip forward, left hip back. Right foot down at that 45-degree angle. Arms up overhead. And sinking into this, taking a few moments to breathe. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to the mat, moving through your vinyasa. Knowing that downward facing dog is the goal, however you'd like to get there. Using the breath to move you through the poses that takes you to get there. And as soon as we're in our downward facing dog, we take a breath in and a breath out. And we inhale, exhale. Fill up your lungs, empty, feet to your hands. Halfway lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Toes together to touch, heels slightly apart. We're going to rise into our chair pose one more time. We're going to exhale, take our chest to thigh, sending those arms back behind us. Inhale as we rise. Exhale, chest to thigh. Inhale to rise. Exhale, take that chest to thigh. Inhale to rise. And now exhale, fold forward, halfway lift. Inhale. Step back, jump back, moving through your vinyasa. Using the breath to get there, we exhale back to our downward facing dog. As soon as we hit downward facing dog, right heel rises, step it forward, big step forward for warrior one. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale to the mat, move through your vinyasa. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling to rise to cobra, upward facing dog. Exhaling, pushing back to that downward facing dog. Left heel rises. Big step forward, warrior one. Reach up, look up to the mat, moving through your flow. Perhaps taking that chaturanga, perhaps lifting that left leg as you lower down. Meeting in downward facing dog is the goal. And as soon as we're there, we take a breath in, a breath out. Keeping it in through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. Filling up. Empty. Let's take our feet to our hands. Meeting in that forward fold. Halfway lift. Toes together to touch, heels slightly apart. Let's fold forward. Rising to our chair pose, getting ready for our twisted chair. Let's take our hands to heart center. We're going to take our left elbow to our right knee. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, keeping these knees in line. These knees do not move. Left elbow to right knee. Taking that twist. Have you been working on your side crow with me? I hope so. If you're working on side crow, go for it right now. If you've never tried side crow, why not? Try it now. Be safe, but let's break it down. So staying in this twist is awesome. Excellent twist. Working on detoxing that body. So if you are staying in the twist, we're going to inhale. Think about the top of your head, reaching forward as you exhale, peeling that right shoulder open. If you want to try for that side crow, we're making our chaturanga arms, planting our palms. We've got our chaturanga arms that kind of create the shelf for your right leg, where my right hip is on my right elbow and my left knee is on my left, or my right knee is on my left elbow. And then we're leaning forward into those palms, lifting both feet up off the ground. Then we hold here, right, for as long as we want, as long as we can. And then we can release down. Meeting in that twisted chair, and then exhale, folding forward, taking these peace fingers to these big toes, pulling your head down towards the mat, feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. Maybe we're playing with the bend in the knees here, where we have a slight bend in the knees and we might feel a stretch more up into our low back. Straightening the legs is going to get into those hamstrings and all that goodness in the legs. Whatever it is, this is a moment to catch your breath after some quick movement that we just did, but it's also a time for a really dynamic stretch. So really pull, biceps bulging, as you pull your head down towards the mat. And now let's release. Our toes are together to touch, heels slightly apart. We're rising into our Utkatasana again, hands coming to heart center, taking our twist, right elbow to left knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, twist. Again, on this twist, if we're holding here, working on peeling this left shoulder away, working on getting those hands back to heart center. If you're working on your side crow, planting those hands, making the shelf with your elbows for your left leg this time, and pitching forward. Holding in that side crow. All right, bringing it back. And let's forward fold. This time we're taking our gorilla pose where we're stepping on the palms of our hands, tickling our wrist creases with those toes, bending our elbows back towards our shins. Again, moment to rest, maybe, yes, but really pulling your head down, feeling that dynamic stretch, getting into the backs of legs all the way up into the lower back, really pulling that head down, feeling that stretch. Releasing those hands, inhaling to a flat back, exhaling to fold. Let's rise all the way up to our extended mountain pose. Take that back bend, look back, go back. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Stepping back, jumping back, moving through our vinyasa. We're going to meet in our downward facing dog. Lowering all the way down to your bellies through your chaturanga perhaps. Inhaling to rise, exhaling, downward facing dog. Our right foot is going to rise. Lifting that heel, bending the knee and opening up the hip. We can take this moment to flip our dog, if that's in our practice. Taking that flip dog or wild thing, maybe working this to an early wheel, early back bend. And then let's meet back in our three-legged dog. We're gonna bring our right knee to our right elbow and then kick it back. Right knee to our nose, and then kick it back. Right knee to left elbow, kick it back. Right foot now plants. We're in our crescent lunge. Options for our crescent lunge, we can be down on our knee. Again, we may be on a wooden floor at home or something not quite as comfortable as those beautiful hot yoga floors. So you may want to fold up your mat a little bit if you're going to be on your knee. Or we can be up. Arms up overhead in our crescent lunge, hands coming to heart center. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Twisting time again. Left elbow to right knee as we twist. Working on getting those hands back to heart center. Right. Peeling the shoulder away. Inhale, lengthening the crown of the head towards the short side of the mat. Exhaling, peeling the shoulders open, really feeling that twist, detoxing the internal organs as we do so. And now let's open up to our warrior two. Gazing over, that drishti is over the right middle finger. Let's send our right palm up to the sky. And then our right elbow to our right knee, extended side angle, reaching that left arm out. Hanging out here in this extended side angle. Maybe you're working on getting your right hand to the mat. If your right hand doesn't reach the mat totally, if you can't get your hand flat to the ground, I want you to be using a block to start training yourself to get there. You might take this half bind. You may take this full bind. Perhaps you're working on that bird of paradise. And again, might as well see where we go as we practice at home or no one's watching. All right, let's bring it back, meeting in that extended side angle. Let's send it up, reverse it, and then both hands to the mat, moving through your vinyasa, meeting in your downward facing dog, breathing through these moves, pushing back to downward facing dog on that exhale, and our left heel is going to rise. We're going to bend that knee and open up the hip, taking the opportunity to flip our dog if we'd like, taking that wild thing, or flip dog. Flip dog, our heels are close to each other, about hips width distance. And then maybe we take it to the early wheel here. And let's meet back in our three-legged dog. We're going to take our left knee to our left elbow. Kick it back. Left knee to nose. And kick it back. Left knee to right elbow. And kick it back. And now let's bring this left foot forward. Setting up for our crescent lunge. Whatever is good for us on this side. Then maybe we're down on that knee. Arms up overhead. Hands coming to heart center. Right elbow to left knee as we take that twist. Working on getting these hands back to the heart center as we peel this left shoulder away. Inhale the top of the head, the crown of the head, reaching towards the short side of the mat. Exhaling, opening up. And now let's open up to warrior two. If you're modifying that crescent lunge, this is a modification of warrior two. You can definitely stay here if you'd like as well. Reversing that warrior. Sending that right hand up to the sky for that extended side angle. Any way you'd like to do this. And then taking your option for extended side angle on this side. Working on getting that hand to the mat, using the block to train your hand down so your palm is flat on the mat. Maybe you're working that half bind, full bind, or you're having fun this morning, you want to pop up into a bird of paradise and see how that works for you this morning. Whatever you're doing, enjoy it. I wish I could see all of you and your wonderful expressions of this pose. And now, birdies, come on down. We're all meeting in our extended side angle. Help that out over there. Let's send that left palm up to the sky. And then cartwheel those hands to the mat. Moving through your vinyasa, stepping that left foot back, maybe lifting that leg as you lower down through chaturanga. Inhaling as you rise, cobra upward facing dog, downward facing dog on the exhale. And we take a big breath in and a breath out. Inhale, exhale, filling up, empty. Let's walk our feet to our hands. We're meeting in that forward fold at the front of our mat. Setting up for some balance poses today. Let's get into eagle first. Arms up overhead. Let's take our right arm under and our right leg over, sinking into this eagle pose. If this pretzel thingy with your arms is not working, we can take those genie arms or that butterfly hug. Whatever option's working for you today, the one day, someday goal also is to get this right toe wrapped around the calf. All of this wrapping helps with that compression that we need, but it's also a lot of core work to keep the belly button in towards the spine, tucking the pelvis as the tailbone is descending and sinking into it. And now let's release out and switch sides. Left arm under, left leg over, sinking into that standing leg. Working on getting that left toe wrapped around the calf. Be mindful that one side might be a little more obstinate than the other this morning. No worries. We're working towards symmetry at every time we step onto our yoga mat. And let's release. Let's take a tree pose, grounding into our left foot, taking our right foot where it needs to go today. Maybe we're
kickstanding on our ankle, or on our calf, or up on our thigh. Whichever option works for you today. Hands to heart center, and breathe. Facebook has changed its live thing today, so for some reason my head is cut off, and I'm not sure why they changed that camera setting. Fun with live videos, but it's okay. Y'all know how to do tree. You don't need to see my face. Maybe we're going to take our arms somewhere new. Overhead, we can clasp our palms and send our palms up to the sky. Maybe even leaning over to the right, leaning over to the left. And let's bring it down. Opposite side, left ankle, left foot, perhaps kickstanding, calf, or thigh. Pick your option for your tree. You can even do your hatha tree this morning if you're feeling so bold. Lots of fun things to do from our hatha tree if you're taking that. If toe stand is in your practice, you can always roll down, take your toe stand. Also moving into a grasshopper arm balance. Wherever you are in your tree, just breathe and enjoy. Enjoy this moment of stillness. I feel like everything is still these days. But sometimes, even in that stillness, our minds can keep going. So in these balance poses, let's try to find the balance of everything. When we're feeling the stillness within our body and within our mind. Maybe we take those arms up overhead, sending those palms up to the sky again, leaning to the right, leaning to the left. Challenging, but good. And let's bring it down, arms up, taking that extended mountain pose. Let's exhale down towards our toes. Halfway lift, inhale. Stepping back, jumping back, moving through your vinyasa. Lowering down on that exhale, inhaling to rise. Downward facing dog. As we push our hips to the sky, breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. Filling up, empty. Let's take our knees to the mat. Coming to standing on our knees, setting up for camel. We're standing on our knees, our heels are directly behind our knees. When we're in the hot room and we look at ourselves in the mirror, you can't see your heels like poking up, right? No. They're directly behind our knees. So imagine us being in that beautiful hot yoga room, looking at ourselves in the mirror and not being able to see our heels, right? So from here, option to pop the toes. If you know what your camel looks like and what it feels like this morning, go for it. But we're going to take, actually starting with our hands on our thighs. This one I stole from Mimi, and I love it. A little bit of a flowy camel. So we're going to take our right hand up and around, reaching back, tapping our right heel, the left arm up, and then bringing it down. Opposite side, that left arm reaches up on that inhale, reaches back, tapping that toe, right arm rises, and sink it back. Right arm, lifting that left, and sink it back. And left arm rises, taps the left heel, and send it back. Want to add on to it a little bit more. Let's take a little bit of a twist. Yes. Right arm rises. Follow me. This time we're tapping our left heel. Sending that left arm up and back down. Right arm rises. Tap the right heel. Send the left arm up. Right arm rises. Tapping the left. Send it down. Last one. Tapping that right heel with the left hand and bring it down. And now let's do our more traditional camel, starting with our hands on our low back perhaps. Your toes can be popped or the tops of your feet can be on the mat. I'm going to pop my toes because I'm going to reach back and grab a hold of my heels. But we start with our hands on our low back. We're leaning forward, not leaning forward, but we're pushing forward. Our hips are pushing forward as if we've got like a rope around our hips and someone's like pulling us. We almost feel like we're going to fall forward, but we're not because we're about to do this great, awesome back bend. So we're going to inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, looking back, going back. Not dumping into the low back, not dumping into the spine. Reaching back, grabbing a hold of our heels. If you're grabbing a hold of your heels, fun tip, keep your thumbs inside of your heels, the rest of your fingers on the outside of your feet, and push those heels open with your thumbs, feeling the opening in the chest. And breathe. Taking 3 to 4 breaths in this camel. And releasing up, sinking our hips down to our heels, hands on our thighs. Gently close your eyes and breathe. Allowing whatever nonsense just swirled up from camel to go. That's what camel does. It swoops everything that we're worried about, gets it all twirled up, and then we send it out. We don't need it. Unnecessary. And camel is so uncomfortable and yet so important, and that's why we do it twice. Let's do it. Up on our knees, taking your option. If you're not reaching back for your toes or for your heels, your hands are just on your low back and you're looking back, gazing back. So whatever your camel option is for today. Inhale, lift, lengthen, start to look back, go back. If you're seeing the back of the wall behind you, maybe you are ready to reach down and grab your heels. Remember the thumbs inside, fingers out. Pushing those thumbs against the heels to really feel the opening in the chest. Breathing. And releasing up. Sinking those hips to your heels. Hands on your thighs. Inhale. Exhale. We went one wild way with our spine, so let's go another wild way. We're just going to roll forward. This time, we're going to take our heels just outside of our hips, taking our little secret hands, reaching those hands into our imaginary back pockets. Actually, these pants have back pockets. It's pretty nice. But I'm not going to use those today. I'm going to clip my hands to my heels. Inhale. Exhale, rounding forward. I'm bringing the top of my head to the mat, my forehead touching my knees here, and then my hips coming up off of my heels. And then let's rise up. Let's extend our fingertips forward. You can keep your knees together or open them up, just coming into a child's pose here, whatever feels good right now. Maybe playing with a different child's pose than you normally do, seeing if there's any difference. We'll just take a breath in and a breath out. And then let's push back to our downward facing dog. And come out to our high plank for a second. Lowering down to your bellies. Chin on the mat, arms down by your sides. Setting up for our belly down postures, starting with our locust. So in this version of locust, your toes are together to touch at the back of the mat. If your lower back is not agreeing with that this morning, super fine. You can bring your toes about hips width distance. If your lower back is fine today, keep your toes together. Palms on the mat, arms down by your side, chin on the mat. On your next inhale, you are lifting everything up off the mat. Toes off the mat, shins off the mat, arms off the mat. Really lift, lift, lift. Hugging everything in, those thighs spinning in towards each other, belly button into spine, really lifting, really reaching, and exhale down. Take a cleansing breath in, cleansing breath out. Inhale as you lift. Locust number 2. Lift up, sending those arms back behind you, those fingertips reaching, pulling those shoulders up off the mat, pulling those legs off the mat, thighs spinning in towards each other, remembering to breathe. We're not holding our breath on our locust, lifting up, feeling that lift, and then we exhale down. Taking a cleansing breath in and a cleansing breath out. Reaching back, grabbing a hold of our toes, setting up for our floor bow. We will do 2 of these. So if you only want to grab one foot today, totally fine. Pick that foot or pick both feet. We're grabbing a hold right at the baseline of our toes. On your next inhale, lift up, creating that beautiful teardrop shape with your body, those toes lifting up higher and higher up overhead, rolling into the soft part of your belly, lifting up, chest proud, and release. Take a breath in, breath out. Floor bow number 2. Reach back and grab a hold of whatever you feel like grabbing a hold of today. We're grabbing a hold of our toes. If you're grabbing a hold of both toes, you can do that. If you want to take that power bow where you grab a hold of your ankles, that's an option as well. On your next inhale, whatever you got, lift it up off the mat. Inhale, creating that teardrop shape. Now, if you're in the power bow, you're coming onto the thighs, right? If you're in the regular floor bow, you're on that soft part of your belly as you're creating that teardrop shape, really lifting and release down. Windshield wiper your feet back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yay. Now, let's roll over onto our backs. We're going to take a bridge and or wheel pose. If you have a block with you, this is the time I like to tell you, you can take a restorative bridge right now in this moment. So taking that block, placing it under your sacrum, and just lifting your hips up onto it. Maybe you're extending your legs out. You can also play with the height of the block, taking that restorative bridge and just hanging out there. If you want to come into a regular bridge or wheel, grounding your heels down. Heels are about hips width distance. Maybe you can use the block between your knees as you ground down to lift your hips up. Hips rise, clasping our hands underneath us, perhaps coming up onto our shoulders. Really feeling that lift. And then release. Restorative bridgers just stay with that restorative moment. We're going to do one more bridge and a wheel. If wheel is in your practice, whatever you got, pop up. Now, on your next inhale, ground down and rise up. Maybe we're coming up on our toes, lifting legs, anything wild or different today. And now release down, hugging your knees into your chest. And let's rock and roll the length of our spine. Crossing our ankles, coming back to our tabletop position. Pushing that back to downward facing dog. Our right heel is going to rise. And then we're going to bring it forward for our resting half pivot. So our right shin parallel to the short side of the mat as much as we can. We are flexing our right foot to protect our knee. And then lifting our chest and exhaling, folding forward. Another great opportunity for a block if you feel comfortable resting your forehead on the block. Or maybe you're ready to rest your forehead down on your hands. Taking this opportunity in this hip opener to release, melt, relax, let it go. Yes? If camel doesn't swirl up all the emotions, these hip openers, man, this is where it's at. And there's a lot of emotion going on right now. A lot of anxiety, a lot of unknown. But we're all in this together. We're here for each other. So let go of those worries. Right now, all you need to do is melt. Let's inhale, lift up. Maybe we can take that mermaid. Maybe. I don't know if I've got that today. Reaching back. And now let's extend our feet out in front of us. Reaching for those toes. Feeling that stretch. Releasing, and now we're going to take our resting half pigeon on the left. So this time taking that left shin parallel to the short side of the mat, sending that right leg back. Inhaling, lifting the chest. Exhaling, melting over that left leg. Inhale as we slowly rise. Maybe you're trying for that mermaid on this side. And then let's extend those legs out one more time. Let's hook our peace fingers to our big toes, pulling our eyebrows down towards our big toes, keeping that back flat. And releasing, rolling onto your backs, lowering down one vertebra at a time. Let's take one last happy laughing baby. Noticing any difference, any more openness maybe than from the beginning of practice. Opening that right leg, extending that left leg. And now lowering both heels to the mat. Arms down by your side. Gently closing your eyes. Shavasana. This is your moment. Could be your only moment today to yourself. To relax and let go. And to feel maybe whole again. Yeah? So relish it. Hold on to this moment and take it throughout your morning. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for watching this later if you're joining us later. In yoga we say the light, the love. The teacher in me sees, loves, and recognizes the light, the love, the student, and the teacher in each and every one of you. Namaste.